There are a number of characters in Boruto whose backgrounds are not well explored. From the cyborg siblings Ida and Damon, the mysterious yet remarkable past of Amado, the history of Shibai, the identity of the missing otsutsuki, and so on. The reason their backstories are so important is because it could push the plot forward into a completely new and different direction. And one such possibility that we will go through today is how the destruction of Konoha might have something to do with the hidden backstory of the main suspect. Something is being kept secret by Amado about Kawaki that even Kashin Koji hasn't spoken about, and as we run down this rabbit hole, you will realize how much sense it makes. It all starts with the theory which says Kawaki may be the son of Akebi and the grandson of Amado, but the new dots that I found while studying some older Boruto chapters could enhance this theory to a whole new level. Also, at the end of this video, I will explain one of the darkest theories in the history of Boruto that will shift your whole perspective on Kawaki. It will be an amazing ride, so make sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and let's begin. When it comes to backstories and the untold tales of characters, Kishimoto has already shown us in Naruto that they can change everything, from how we see a character to how we interpret their actions, motivations, and even their role in the larger narrative. A well-crafted backstory can turn a hated villain into a tragic figure, elevate a side character into a fan favorite, or even make us question everything we know about the story. When it comes to the new gen, the lack of backstories for the newer characters is a straight-up hint for some new and unexpected plot twist that would certainly be executed well. One such person who could be secretly pulling the strings from behind is Amado. Not only are the authors delaying his backstory, which includes a lot of questions and unsolved mysteries, but the most intriguing part is that no one is bothered to interrogate him about his past, not even Shikamaru, even though he's acting as the Hokage right now. They are all acting like the abundant knowledge that the scientist has kept hidden is not harmful, and he's only trying to revive his daughter at this point, the life goal that made him scheme so much. The fascinating thing is that everything that is happening in the story right now could be a master plan of Amado, and chapter 17 kinda confirmed this to be true. Kawaki, the vessel who holds the power to make Amado's dream come true, had been modified with surveillance tech and power limiters. This means Amado had been keeping a check on all the events and experiences of Kawaki all this time, including the incident with Naruto, the event of omnipotence, alongside the conversations about the big lie that he had with Ida and Damon. But even after knowing all this, he decided to remain silent, which is kinda suspicious cause he could have blackmailed Kawaki into obeying him by threatening to expose him to Konoha if he refused. So why didn't he do that? Well, what if I told you the true plan of Amado was 10 steps ahead, something that none of us could have thought about? I believe all the cyborgs of Amado made some pre-planned moves which collectively contributed to his plan, and now we are on the brink of its success. It all started with Boro, who led to Momoshiki's awakening, making Kawaki see Boruto as a real threat. Then we had Code, who not only brought Ida and Damon into the picture, but also awakened the Shinjus through the claw marks. Not to mention, during his abduction, Amado acted a bit scared, but the way he got out of the trouble and the events that followed, I don't think all of it wasn't planned. There are two reasons that make me think so. First, we have Ida, who for some reasons loved Kawaki, even though she had never met him in person before. Just think about it. What were the chances for her to stalk a fellow Kara member, assuming she had seen a glimpse of him during the early days, and then she became infatuated for no obvious reasons. Later, when Ida helped Kawaki through her omnipotence, the silly attraction turned out to be a huge setup that no one saw coming. You may call it plot, but I think all of this was planned. So Amado could have programmed Ida to make her love Kawaki, and there is a hint for this possibility in chapter 75. Before Momoshiki figured out omnipotence, he believed Ida's charm could be something other than a shinjutsu. This means he assumed the charm to be a scientific ninja tool, and even concluded that Amado was lying on its identity. The following chapter, he understood the charm as an application of omnipotence, but the fact that he believed Amado could have modified her in a way that people are attracted to her, I don't think it's impossible for him to program her in a way that she's drawn to someone. And looking at how this attraction to Kawaki has helped in the overall plan of Amado, we can say that Ida's love was just a part of his greater game. Not just that, the awakening of Shinjus is what made Kawaki realize that he's weak and needs to get more powerful, hinting at the possibility of them being a part of the grand scheme as well. In the original draft of the story by Kishimoto, Core was supposed to die early and Amado wouldn't have shifted to Konoha. Can you imagine the plot moving forward like it has if these two characters were not a part of it? Well, I think Kishimoto's attempt was to bring the divine and otherworldly elements in the story post Ishiki otsutsuki fight, with Code and Amado acting as the pioneers to the greater game. The whole Shinjitsu, Shibai and Shinju plot is a part of a greater yet game-changing narrative. So talking about the Shinju, in chapter 19, they were discussing the concept of love, an emotion that makes humans do huge and sometimes irrational things. And during this conversation, Hidari had guessed love to be a disease, which may be a reflection of the life experiences of his human counterpart, as Sasuke did not understand love for most part of the story, but eventually found redemption as well. Jura emphasized on understanding and overcoming this dangerous concept, and this is just one of the many examples for how the notion of love has been implied in the story. But while the Shinju see it as dangerous and even a disease, Amado sees it as a way to accomplish his goals, with the incident of Ida and Kawaki being a prime example. But that's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how much the scientist has schemed. Ida being instated with love also makes sense cause she is a symbol of programming in the story. She is based on Ida Lovelace, the first computer programmer, and even her omnipotence is said to be a divine programming language. So if Amado could make Ida have a soft corner for Kawaki, who is the most precious piece in his master plan of reviving Akebi, what are the chances that he wouldn't have modified his other cyborgs to serve as Akebi's protectors once she is revived? The idea stems from this panel where Amado warns Kawaki of going all out on him if he tries to lay a finger on his daughter. What's ironic about this exchange is that Amado's warning appears more horrifying than the statement of Kawaki to kill Akebi. Amado will stop Kawaki with everything he has got. So how exactly do you think he will accomplish that? Well, it may be similar to how he modified Delta to favor Konoha. All his cyborgs could have been modified in a way to collectively ensure the revival of Akebi, which is what has almost happened. And after her revival, they could be ensuring her safety, since Amado cannot let her die yet another time. This explains how he was confident to defeat Kawaki, cause there is literally no other way for the scientist to stop him. In other words, when he said he will use everything to stop him, he could be referring to all his cyborgs working together against Kawaki, cause his creation is literally his everything if you think about it. Now this is where it gets more interesting. You may have noticed that Kashin Koji hasn't mentioned Akebi to Boruto, even though he must have seen a future where she gets revived. Initially I thought it may be because the chances of her revival are way too low, and the other events are more important, so that may be why he never mentions her. But now when I think of it, Amado could have programmed Kashin Koji to never get in between the revival of Akebi, or worse, his moves could be subconsciously leading us to the moment where she gets revived. And looking at how he pushed Boruto to inform Kawaki about the limiters, which led to Amado demanding Akebi's resurrection, I think we may be on the right track. Another hint to support this theory comes from the Vessel arc, where Kashin Koji was teamed up with Akebi's clone when they were undercover. Compiling this with the fact that he's not talking about a future with Amado's daughter, it could be that this team up was a foreshadowing of his role in reviving Akebi. Amado could not risk the life of his daughter yet another time, so that may be why he programmed all his cyborgs to first ensure Akebi's revival and then protect her on command. Now here is where it all gets fun. In chapter 13, Koji unveiled the concept of singularities, the individuals who hold some special power over reality due to the knowledge of multiple futures. Boruto, Ida and Koji himself are all the known singularities as of now, and apparently all of them have played some role in the resurrection of Akebi. First, Ida activated her omnipotence, which led to Boruto escaping the village and meeting Kashin Koji. Then we had Koji coming up with the idea of unlocking Kawaki's limiters, and once Boruto informs Kawaki about how Amado has nerfed him, the scientist gets a chance to demand Akebi's resurrection in return of unlocking Kawaki's limiters. Now you could argue that Ida activated omnipotence before becoming a singularity, which is completely true, but we can't deny the fact that while the three of them are working together right now, if only one of them decides to separate their ways, it could lead to a dystopian future that no one expected. And that's what may have happened in the flash forward. Boruto cannot believe this was the only possible outcome, possibly because he had never heard of it from Kashin Koji. This only means that one of the three singularities became a liability, and we already know who that is. So what could have the Sim Sorceress done, which brought an end to the age of Shinobi? Well, the answer can be found in two older Boruto chapters. First, in chapter 75, she ambiguously confirmed the existence of Akebi, as well as revealing that she was 24 years old at the time of death. What's interesting here is that she did not confirm if Amado's narrative of how she died was true, and considering how Momoshiki was doubtful of the tale, it could be that he's hiding something. Well, if we look at the chapter number, which corresponds with the age of Akebi at the time of her death, it's the same chapter where the backstory of Kawaki was revealed, and I refuse to believe that it was a mere coincidence due to one solid reason. There is a theory connecting Akebi with Kawaki, pushing them them both into a mother-son relationship. And before we move on to how Aida's status as the Singularity will destroy the Leaf Village in the future, let's first get over my version of the theory for Akebi being the mother of Kawaki. So this detail right here could be a deliberate attempt of the author to hint at their future connection. But that's not the only clue indicating the same. So Kawaki and Amado share some undeniable resemblance, and while I have discussed in the last video how they could be the same person, if you add Akebi to this puzzle, who also looks utterly similar to Kawaki, something becomes crystal clear. Amado might not just be the father of Akebi, but also the secret grandparent of Kawaki as well. The possibility seems to enhance when you look at how desperately he needed Kawaki to revive his daughter. Both of them share the same DNA since they were parent and child, which might be a huge contributing factor to the karma resurrection ritual. So assuming Boruto somehow had got rid of the karma and then Amado would have done the same to him that he did to Kawaki, he probably wouldn't have been able to revive Akebi due to the difference in their DNA. So now that the connection seems obvious, here's what I think could have been the true and much darker backstory of Kawaki. Akebi could have been raising her son with love and care till the age of 2. But it all changed one day when Kawaki was attacked by some evil shinobis. We have already seen in his backstory that how some goldfish seller tried to prey on him with deception, likely with the intent of child exploitation. So some shinobis being involved in such works would make sense as well, and to protect her son from this unexpected attack, Akebi could have appeared to save him, only to get fatally wounded, which led to her death. Amado, the grandfather of Kawaki, could have seen this all from a distance, and that's when he started using all his knowledge to revive his daughter. Eventually he figured out the key to his dream goal is Kawaki himself, since his DNA matches with Akebi, and in order for the karma revival experiment to work, he would need to get Kawaki to use his special karma on Akebi's clone. And this is where the role of Aida kicks in. As we know, the revival of Akebi wouldn't have come without consequences, as her transformation into an otsutsuki would persuade Kawaki to kill her. But in order to stop him from taking that step, Amado would spill the beans and reveal the truth about Kawaki's past to him. Bewildered to hear what Amado unveiled, Kawaki would have no reason to trust his crap, so he would seek help from Aida to confirm the words of Amado. And to his own surprise, Amado would turn out to be correct. A huge hint to back this theory can also be found in chapter 24, where Delta can be seen with a wine glass in front of her. In many religions, particularly Christianity, wine is a symbol of sacrifice, blood, and the divine. And considering how Akebi not just sacrificed herself to save Kawaki by shedding blood, but also ends up coming back through a divine medium, it all just makes too much sense. I hope you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, cause the upcoming videos will have some even more mind-blowing takes. Now this explains why Aida did not explicitly mention the details of Akebi's death back in chapter 75. It was a setup that the writers had planned to use while revealing the complete backstory of Akebi and her hidden connection to Kawaki. Not to mention, this disclosure of the past by a singularity of fate would lay down the foundation for a corrupt and dystopian future, something that no one had ever expected. After coming to know about the truth behind his dark past and who has to be blamed for it, Kawaki will decide to make a change in his plans. On top of destroying the Otsutsuki clan, which has been his main plan from a very long time, he would also sought to bring down the system of shinobis once for all. The reasoning comes from the fact that both of them are dangerous to humanity, and in order for a peaceful world to exist, the troublemakers must be eliminated. This decision of Kawaki would reflect the realization of Minato, as he also believed that the existence of the shinobi system would always prevent peace from sustaining. The Red Karma Wielder would resort to creating the safest world for humanity, far from the external and existential threats like the Otsutsukis and those who imitate their powers. And to achieve all this, he would need to destroy the current world and rewrite the destiny of everyone in it by becoming an Otsutsuki god. But as we could see from the beginning, his counterpart doesn't like destiny being controlled by someone else, which would become the root of their ultimate conflict. Kawaki wants to obtain the same power that changed his fate earlier to change the fate of everyone this time, but Boruto strictly opposes this idea, which may be why things have went so far in the flash forward. Now as for a more darker aspect of Kawaki's backstory, even though it has already gotten too dark with the theories that I just mentioned, you must be wondering how Kokatsu, his drunkard father, ended up with Akebi. Well, the answer could be love. Kawaki was around 8 to 9 years old when Jigen bought him from Kokatsu, and we literally never got to hear anything about his drunkard father after that point. Considering he was just 2 years old when Akebi passed away, there was a period of over 6 to 7 years between both the events. So what if Kokatsu wasn't obese or abusive when his wife was alive? In the anime, it's revealed that he was a remarkable shinobi back in in the day, but somehow turned into a violent alcoholic father. So what could have led to such an unexpected and distorted change in his nature? I believe it was the untimely and tragic death of his wife which led to such a terrible downfall in his life. The reason he mistreated Kawaki so much could be because of two things. First, it was under the influence of alcohol, and the second and the saddest reason could be due to the fact that he blamed him for the death of his beloved wife. And when you look back at how Kawaki hates the Shinobi system in the future, knowing that his father had also abandoned the way of ninja only makes the Akebi theory more reasonable. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to check out these videos if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.